Alrighty, guys. I am coming through right now. I'm just seeing what. Okay, yeah, no, we got the realistic day and night there. Um, let's go and type in traffic. Okay, because you have the different lenses of traffic lights. For that. Let me go over to the official GMC thing, because I have to remember how to. I have to remember remember to check to see if we got any updates. For it, but I'm not gonna check for anything. So let me import a file. I need to import this one here. Okay. We need the ProMods Mega Reb is gonna get added because that was something that's been newly added. Known. Let's check to see if we still have any known issues. The Afro-Eurasia to South Africa EA Rescaled International Friendship Bridge crash in Warsaw. Ryland still has that. Ryland N plus ProMods RC still there. So Australia. That flight's on the wrong side of the road. Okay. Nothing really new change to there. But important for this one, we need to check this mostly. Basically for the additional mod load order, sound physics UI, UI slash other basic, we'll put it below. For this, we'll put it below there. Because it would be, actually no, we'd go put it under sound. I'm just gonna put it under sound for that. For it, then graphics and weather setup, pretty much. Realistic lighting and shadow effects. We're going to realistic weather system. I want to put the realistic day and night. We'll put that below it. Beautiful road textures. We'll go below pretty much the reflective lighting. For it. Okay. We'll confirm those changes for now. And then I'm also going to check for vegetation. No. Let me see if we got veg. Alright, and we also got better vegetation LOD. No noticeable difference, so I don't see any noticeable difference with that one. Okay, I don't think we're gonna use that one per se. And the improved trees. Okay, I think I'm going to take and keep what we've got. I just wanted to have a little bit of some better stuff. Now, the only other thing that I'm going to tell you guys that, where are we at? Is that we are going to find that pretty much basically before we genuinely add the mega rep, we're going to hit apply for that, tick all of those, and then hit apply for 130 on that, because I want to make sure no Russia, Asia, Africa. Road into the wilderness. I don't think I used the road into the wilderness though, so to be honest, if I take that out, yeah, we don't use that anyways, so it's like whatever. Go to general, Project Greenland, don't use that. Asia, pretty much Asia has nothing, America has nothing, and others have nothing. So we're gonna go to go to general, general, and this is pretty much basically, I wanted to show you guys that this is all the mods I do particularly use. Okay. Okay, so I have to log freaking in. Great. Alright. Now, of course, guys, for right now, I'm not going to be on TikTok anymore. So if you guys are seeing there, you guys still want to follow me on TikTok, you can, but just know that I'm not going to be on. Okay. Then, and we got to download this, for it. Now, of course, so we got one, two, three, four, five. Pretty much basically those right there are all based around it. Now I am going to tell you um that it's going to take us that long to download it because of things. Anyway, um I hate how it's going to take forever for this thing to load, for it to get us to going with the mega rep. Now, of course, um I've always been this person that likes to utilize I am going to always use pro mods as my starting point, my starting basis for everything that I do when I play Euro Truck or I play any game throughout this. And of course, since I do have that, let's check um, GMC. Let's just make sure that um, GMC map combo should be 1.3 and 1.7 um, for it. Let's go down here where it says Ultimate Map Combo Fix. Okay, and we're good. Okay, because I just have to make sure that those are updated to meet for this new thing that we're adding into it. So but If it's gonna take us a few minutes, like we've been sitting here for 30 minutes just trying to get this going. I was going to install. I should have worked on this before I got in and started doing things. Um, we'll refresh you so that it can get downloaded. Um, okay, so now it's going to take us 26, 27, 28, 31, 38. Why are you going to 40 minutes now? That you're going to take 40 minutes to download. 47 minutes to freaking download this thing. How big of a file? It's 250 megabytes of file. I don't know why it's going to take us that long to just download a freaking file for it. I know today I was supposed to do Final Fantasy 13, guys, but there was just enough information that I wanted to really step in and talk about. Um, talk about for today. And one thing is, I will tell you right now, I will not be live streaming on TikTok right now, because my um, because unfortunately right now I have an issue with TikTok basically telling me, oh, I'm not, I got myself in trouble because I'm not 18. And I'm like, I'm sitting here, I'm 30 freaking years of age. Why do I freaking need to submit my freaking ID? Why do I need to do things like that? If I've been live streaming on this platform, okay, and I'll tell you, I've been live streaming on this platform for how long? Year, two, and now you're starting to come after me because you decided you don't now you decide to come after me because I've been live streaming for that long. There's something else going on with it. Okay, it's the same thing that's happening on Reddit, I believe. Um, you know, and it happens. There are a lot of things that happen um that tend to do. What I'll probably do, guys, is we'll probably get this downloaded and going um for it. Um what I'll probably do is we'll probably just go out and start driving. And then what we'll do is we'll come back with this one at a later point. But this is the one that we are going to be utilizing on a daily basis. The Pro Mods stuff. I use Pro Mods on a daily basis. I will tell you that I might do this after we done live streaming. Um, to update the game that way. Um, because I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel you. Okay? Because it shouldn't be taking that long to download. So I'll come back. We'll come back to doing it later. Um, we'll continue with what we are doing now. Of course, I might be I might be on the process of downloading a couple other graphical mods. I wanted to make more realistic, shine more realistic a little bit, make the game feel more realistic a little bit, even though it's not really completely realistic to really do that. So, but I will tell you this, for any of you who um love the content that I produce, make sure you guys are followed and subscribed here on Trovo and TikTok. Um, I freaking hate um uh TikTok right now because they're basically telling me we are taking dryers. We are currently taking a haul right now, so just adding this extra stuff. Um I'm just adding that stuff, pretty much basically finishing up from our last thing. But I do want it to really come in and share with you guys that within the last little bit, there has been some good news and some bad news and some horrible news, pretty much. Basically, most of it is no good news. Um, by any stretch of the means. Um, with it. Um, and let me be very clear. A lot of this pertains to LGBTQ people. Um, and a lot of it is pretty much basically really horrible stuff going on um, for it. But we'll get into some good news though later in the stream. So if you want to see that, stick around. Um, and we're also going to be talking about, like you guys know in the title, um, we got a new Bruce Springsteen song that we'll talk about as well later. Um, and we've also got some Michael Lindell stuff that and the Save Act thing. Basically, we got a lot of things going on within this. The first one's going to be really, really simple and easy to talk about because, unfortunately, look, the Save Act is in no way, shape, or form a thing that I would say yes to. I will say no to anything suppressing or deciding to reduce the amount of ways that we have the ability to vote. Okay? I am not somebody that's going to require you to have a birth certificate because your birth certificate is going to be different than your maiden name. Your birth certificate is going to be pretty much basically, unless there's something in things that basically give you like that where you have to do that. I'm pretty sure. How are you gonna your birth certificate? Okay, that can be easily fudged because your birth certificate, you require a birth certificate. Well, now that's gonna take away anybody who is not born here in America first and foremost. It's gonna take away those people who are, who have a birth certificate that is of, um, I'm bringing a birth certificate, and well, guess what? Now you bring a birth certificate. Guess what? Did you know that a birth certificate does not have your photo? Now, of course, if the Save Act pretty much basically requires that on top of your thing, I am still not going to vote. I still will not absolutely still vote for it because any amount of more documentation that is required for you to vote, other than a real ID, which most Americans now have to have in order to fly anyway. So it's like you might as well just pucker up and get a real ID or an enhanced ID, pretty much. Or and you can get a driver's license with a real ID. So basically you can really fix and save a lot of that information and make it really good and bringing things to it. And it's just like you want to make it harder for people to vote because you are so greedy with power that most people are going to comply with it. But what about those who can falsify that information? There are a lot of ways you can literally falsify information and make false things like security features. It's a lot harder to break those security features. But most people, when you go to a voting system or you go and vote to vote, Most people are going to be trained to do that, but there are going to be some times where there's going to be a crack that gets slipped. There's going to be times where people are going to make a mistake because we're human, and that's what happens. There are all these things that basically, you know, no full, like, you want to say, okay, you want to make it so that it's harder for people to vote because you want to weed out, you want to have a little bit more protection. Well, guess what? What about the illegal process? Um, what about the process that you go in and you um want to make it illegal for um for even they want to make even illegal for women to vote, pretty much. And I'm like, you want to make what illegal to vote? Why should I vote for you when you want to harm people because you're so greedy with power? And it's like, you want power, you want to change you want to basically do what you want and don't care about anybody else but yourself. Like, to be honest, like, there's a lot of things that if I ever did run, I said there's only one thing that I really want myself, and everything else is pretty much what the people want. Okay? And that is pretty much basically and if you're asking what I really want, there's only about one thing, and that's basically for trans people. And that's the only thing that I pretty much would stand with right now and put myself into place with that. And that's it. Like, there is absolutely no other thing that I would do to change the personality of the way that my decision making goes. I don't pick a decision and say, look, you're going to um, follow this. You're going to stick to um, doing the things that everybody wants. You can't. You cannot. You cannot physically get what everybody wants, because when you start doing that, you're not going to be able to make everybody happy. You can't. You have to really um, decide to say, okay, what can be really done feasibly within 2 years? What can be feasibly done within 4, to be precise? And that's what you have to think about it when you come into the offices and coming into places and making things of that nature and doing things out of places like that. And look, you can't necessarily physically change somebody's mind on everything. Okay? Not everybody's going to agree the same way you do. Not everybody's going to basically support your agenda. Not everybody's going to be happy with it, because let me be clear. Um, you know, you look at Mike Lindell, and of course he's the one that I will never vote for. I will never vote a Republican ever again, and there's a big reason. Mostly because if you're somebody like Donald Trump, or you're a young Republican that believes in taking away more rights, you're not a Republican. You are a somebody that basically wants control and doesn't care about anybody else but yourself, or helping the betterment of what your agenda is. There is an agenda for every person has an agenda. Okay? Every single person does. Every single person wants something, but a lot of times, you can't change a lot of these symptoms, or a lot of the times that things go beyond um, these places. Now, of course, when you do talk about things, and you go and you make your voice be heard, okay, they will listen. They will most likely listen. But if they're not willing to listen to you, they're just willing to basically state what they want and then leave. They're they're not for you. If they're not willing to ask or talk to you, if they are willing to basically dodge your answers or dodge your questions, um, then they're not for you, and that's the problem. Problem. And there's a lot of things that really do make that is a problem within these places. Um, and enforcing people to believe your way is no way, shape, or form any good. Forcing people to basically become a place where we take away rights, human rights, human rights. And I'm going to tell you, like, there are a couple of things. There's one thing that I will never absolutely change my mind on, and that's going to be transgender issues. Okay, there are literally right now there is literally Kansas, like I said earlier, Kansas is basically going after trans people. Um, and they're basically doing the bathrooms. They're taking away rights, um, forcing that. But then also, um, Florida is now making it even more of a criminal to help anybody that is getting medication for helping trans people. Okay, and they're wanting to get rid of people like that. They are not really wanting to help um, people of any. They're willing to criminalize anybody for getting help, including getting help for the 988 number for any point. They don't care about anything other than themselves. They only want more money because that's all they want. They want more money. They want more power, and and it's the same thing here in Minnesota, um, with Mike Lindell basically wanting to criminalize tampons in bathrooms, basically removing tampons because because it's in the men's restroom or whatever. And I'm like, okay, there's a point to be had um that it should never be in bathrooms in general. According to some people, don't want it in bathrooms in general. I'm like, I don't care. It wouldn't bother me if I was a man, even in the men's restroom. I wouldn't care. I would not care because look, why should I care about these things? Why complain about it? It's literally um it is literally does not. This one might make or break me. No. This one's probably gonna make or break me because we have to drop this off and yeah, look at already. Um Cam, where are we? Hold on. Oh, Hornsund. Okay, yeah, no, I see where we're going now. I was like, so yeah, it's a lot of these things that um, really make a problem within society that basically people don't care. Most of their, like, you just go on your day to day basis. You just do, you know. It's like you shouldn't be like, if you're gonna complain about something, you're really complaining about nothing. If it doesn't, if it does not physically, it does not physically bother you. It does not physically bother me for. It does not bother me that you decide to make those decisions. That if something bothers you, okay, that like if a trans person is bothers you so much so that you're willing to go and harm them and get them off of you, then but yet you are willing to drink, you are willing to um I'm trying to see. Oh, that's even gonna be even worse because you look at it, that's even more cost ineffective. Iced coffee goes to the Faroe Islands. That's there. That one goes um there. Perth. That's going to there. I'm trying to see Perth. Yeah, no. Like yeah. This is the outdoor floor tiles. Actually, yeah. There's only one here. For it. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to make it right, so we'll just go at it. And if it makes you angry or anything at it, you need to change your mindset because I'm like, it's not worth to get angry over a lot of things. Like, I've kind of realized that getting angry over silly things, it's like, why get angry at dumbest of things? Why get angry at a trophy because you failed to lose, um because you didn't get your trophy because you're so bummed out that you didn't get it right away because you're pissed off at it. It's like, why? It's like, why get angry at something that you cannot physically, like, change? Like, you get angry because you didn't get it and they're gonna send it to you. It's like, okay, they'll send it to you, but then why? But like, they'll send it to you or on things like that, and it's like, it's not worth to get angry over just the littlest things in the daily life. Like, what's the point in getting angry at somebody for um for a fifth place trophy or for something that you did not receive because you are jealous because you didn't get what you want? It's like, it's like, why? I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that getting over on a medal or getting over, because you just have to learn to get better. You just have to learn to take to do it, and you know, by showing that. Well, no. Yeah, this one is gonna make or break me pretty much. Um. Okay, now, which way is it telling me to go? Oh no, this one's gonna make or break me today. Ugh. This is gonna. So that means we're just gonna have to rotate around then. Unless. Yeah, pretty much it's basically. Oh, okay. No, I see it. Okay. Okay, nope. I see it now. Okay, I see where we're going. Makes much more sense. Um. On these things, and it's like you get angry. No, I understand that some things you can get angry at and stuff, but it's just like not worth it. Like if somebody's breaking the law because they're um because in the wrong handicap stall, that's a bit different than somebody um like why do I need to go that way when I can just rotate right there? Um a new passage has been found. Nice. Um but one of the things that also can be really problematic is like, look. Nerd. It was my fault. That one was my fault. My bad. Now you're gonna have to wait. But there's always this thing that, you know, you can be easily going after and complaining about a lot of things, and complaining about every instance of the um, of these things, and it can be problematic for a lot of people in a lot of places throughout um, the the thing. How I put it, I don't know what I'm saying right now. It's basically like if you can get angry at for them taking away your Second Amendment rights. Okay, that's fine to get angry at it, but is it really? Is it really just to get angry and throw shade at somebody because they have a different view than you? Um, I do it all the time. I'm not saying I'm perfect at these things. I'm no way, shape, or form am I perfect at following the way some of the things that I do, but you know, it's like you can get angry at people, but are you really gonna get up and actually change? Be willing to change? Um, that's the whole key. Is is like you gotta get up and willing to change for what it's pretty much worth, and change the way that you believe, and change some of those things, and learn and study and grow from it. Just because you look at um um mostly, I will tell you, mostly trans people are not going out there to harm you or hurt you in your daily life. But there are a lot of people out there that, you know, that believe that way, and believe that trans people are the problem. That believe that people who are of that mindset, that basically say, hey, oh, you're trans, so basically, so you're willing to groom children, you're willing to basically change that mentality, change the way that kids perceive perceive you, and it's like you're willing to say that grooming happens to be any religion, any place that you decide to make, um that if you decide to put um your religion in front of that and say, isn't that grooming? Isn't that trying to force people to live your way, and forcing people to live a standard that you want to live, that you want people to live your certain way? Because, like, you want to ban Sharia law when, like, when it's a thing. Well, then, if you want to ban Sharia law, then that means you can't, um, that means you cannot force your religion on somebody else either, uh, because they just live a certain way, they practice a certain way, and you want to ban it. Because then why don't we ban your practice? Why don't we ban your way of forcing? You want to teach kids the Bible in school, right? But you want to teach the Bible. Well, then which Bible are you going to teach? You're going to have to now start teaching every single Bible, reading from every single version of the Bible that's out there, all 150 different Bibles, and the Book of Mormon and the Doctrine and Covenants, and reading all these things? If you're not willing to teach about forcing a certain way of life, and pushing a certain way of life to live, is not going to change that person. They got to have that willingness to change. Okay? You cannot force me, or force your next door neighbor to believe the same way you do. You cannot force and get angry at your next door neighbor for doing something because they decide to um, drink. Because they decide to drink. Because they decide to be a smoker. because they decide to do something that you don't like. Okay, there are going to be times where you may not like what they do, but you can't get angry at them because they're the ones that have to be willing to change. You cannot force them to change. Okay, that's the whole big picture here. You know, it's like you cannot force somebody to be something that they are not meant to be. You cannot force somebody to change their lifestyle because you want to be that way. It's like you want to put somebody's weight out on the internet, okay? Or you put out your weight, people are going to ridicule you for being fat or for being skinny or for being whatever. You don't put those things out there and willing to force people to change to fit your lifestyle, to fit your way of thinking. Telling people to do a keto diet or to do a diet based on um, or to go out and do a vegan diet, or everybody's body is different from that perspective. It's the same thing with a trans person. Every trans person's going to react differently to medication. When you take a trans person who starts taking testosterone or on that, a trans person who is 12 or 13 years old can't get their if you're looking for a female, a 13-year-old cannot necessarily change aren't necessarily going to be able to change overnight. You aren't going to be able to see a 13-year-old trans person. It's going to be a lot easier to change than a 30-year-old person, because they've already started a certain way and then having to change it to a different direction. You can't force one style or one person being you can't basically force a person on the issue of putting a trans person next to a regular person, because a trans person is going to be different than what a cis person's going to have a different way of going through puberty. A 13-year-old compared to 13-year-old trans person is going to be different than, like I said, a 30-year-old trans person, but it's also, both of those are going to be different than a cis person at the exact same age. Everybody is going to have a different body. Everybody's going to be slightly different than, you're 30, 40 years old at, and we're going to be 30 or 40 years old, and trying to go through it again, going through puberty again, is going to be different, because once you, go through it, you're going to have to gone through your first, you're going to get a second puberty, which is going to alter or change the way that you necessarily think about you guys could not pick up your freaking speed. Ugh. I hate when I see things like that. But it's one of those things that, you know, that a 13-year-old isn't going to be able to get the surgery that is deemed to change, because a 13-year-old who happens to get a can't go and get tubes tied, can't go, a woman can't go and do those things. So sometimes you have to have these things that, you know, Mike Lindell wants to pretty much basically remove from tampons out of males' bathrooms, because they don't quite understand that. You can't really change a 13-year-old. You really can't require that. Like, you want to get rid of it out of schools. Okay, no, we want to get rid of it out of boys' spaces, but then at the same point is like, what about those who are intersex who have to have both parts? What are you going to do about that? How are you going to take care of people like that? And it's like the same thing. It's like, you can't force people to change their mindset and change the way that they believe. You know, like in that same regards with the trans people, it's like medication or any kind of drugs will affect everybody differently. Okay, some people may be able to take Tylenol on a daily basis for pain, or be able to take ibuprofen and it works for them, but not everybody will be able to take the ibuprofen because they're allergic to what's in it. And similar, they have to go to Tylenol because Tylenol is the only thing that helps. But then there are people out there that can't even, that they build up so much of a tolerance for the pain, for the Tylenol, that it doesn't help, and they get even, it makes it a lot worse for a lot of people. And to be honest, and it basically, you're changing it to put in these points and these places that you're forcing people to follow that aspect. And you know, because I always get those things where, you know, I listen and I pay attention to what's going on and the things that I dislike. And I really dislike Mike Lindell. I've never really had any point in buying his products, because guess what? Just because they're the best product doesn't mean that they're the great. That just because they're the best product doesn't mean that the person behind it has good intentions. You know, there is always that thing where the product behind Mike Lindell, or behind these things, like they may be great products, but the people behind it don't seem to really, or seem to be, don't follow your line of values or your line of thinking. And it doesn't matter. Like, I will tell you, like, I don't need a My Pillow, because I can sleep pretty well with just a basic pillow that you get at like Walmart or whatever, or get a basic cheap pillow. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like, most of the time, I usually genuinely don't complain about, you know, I always try to look for things where I can basically get things cheaper than spending on expensive products. You know, you don't need, like, the only exception to these rules that I would say that you can spend on a expensive product is computers. Computers is one thing. Spending more than what is needed to build a computer is fine. Or spending on a product that is, like shoes. Like, I'm not gonna spend on cheap shoes when, unless you're like growing and you're ultimately changing and you're doing things like that. That's a bit different than than what goes on in for a lot of these products out there. You don't need to go out and spend $1,000 on a Canadian Goose jacket when a down jacket from like when a down jacket for like $100-$200 is just as good. Okay, like, to be honest, you don't need to go out and spend $2,000 on a pair of shoes when a Nike $100 pair of Nikes will just do you fine. Like, or in a pair of Adidas. Like, those, like, there are going to be times where these things do tend to not need to spend on expensive stuff when sometimes the other stuff is just as good. And that it's like you don't need to go out and buy the most fanciest phone ever when that same phone you can probably spend a little bit less, you know, if you need to. So you don't need to go and spend on things if you know that. And what you need to figure out what you do with a computer, figure out what you're going to do with it, and then go from there. If you're just going to be somebody that just browses the internet, just browses the day-to-day things, then going to get a Linux PC is better than going to get a Windows PC with it. Now that doesn't mean that you can't go and get Windows. I'm just saying, like if you're just doing that on a thing, you don't need to go out and get a $2,000, $4,000 computer to just browse the freaking internet. You don't need to do that. Now, if you're a gamer, of course, you're gonna want to get a little bit better computer. If you're doing AI, you want even a better computer than what a gamer would need. You know, for me, like, I can game right now on my computer and have absolutely... Can I stream on 4K? No. I don't need to stream 4K. I'm not here for 4K, because 4K is just out there. 4K takes a lot more compute power than a 1080p computer. So having these technologies and having these things to spend more on a article of clothing, like $20 for a t-shirt, $30 for a t-shirt is pretty much basically like you're going out there spending $30, $40 on a t-shirt or whatever. That's pushing the envelope for what you should be really spending. Of course, if you're going to spend something and it's American made and you're spending $40, it's a little bit different than spending like if you're wanting to go all American made, but it's $2,000 to build it all American made, whereas you go and buy this phone that's half that price from Samsung. It's like you're gonna most likely you're gonna go and spend the cheaper price anyway. Anyway, it's the same thing. It's like you want to do that. Wanting is different than spending on these places, and spending on things that do not need to be spent on. You know, it's like a video game. It's like, yeah, you can spend $100 on a video game, and still get joy out of it, like spending on like a Call of Duty and stuff. But the point is, if you're spending $100 on that video game to get skins, to get cosmetics, do you really need to spend that $100 and just go for the $70 version of Call of Duty? Personally, going with the $70 thing and not spending on the battle pass, not having to do those things, you can still have enjoyment out of a game that you don't need to spend on buying cosmetics. You don't need to spend every day, like Fortnite too. You can still have fun on it. It's the same thing with going out and spending on money in Roblox or spending on money in places. It's like you can go out, and now apparently in Fortnite you can now go and support content creators with V-Bucks. Oh great. Now we're starting to get into the point of that's a great thing. Right there, that's actually a great thing for people. That's actually a great that's actually great for a lot of that, if people are going to get paid for it. If people are going to, you buy these V-Bucks and then you give it to these content creators and get it out there, and that's great. And that's a good side effect of spending on money. If you enjoy something and you want to support a creator, that is a great way of doing things. But when you're going out there to spend on cosmetics, spending on things that that are out there, um, then it's not worth it. Worth it to spend on things that do not need to be done. You don't need to go out and spend on it. Like if you're going to spend on $200-300 pair of shoes, you really are out there kind of pushing that boundary of spending on it. But it's like $200-300 is still better than $1,000 pair of shoes and a $2,000 pair of shoes or anything of that nature. Of spending on products and spending on things. You don't need to go out and spend cheap products either, because cheap products are going to be just as bad as spending on expensive products. And it's not a good idea to spend on things like that. It's not good to go out and spend $60,000 on like spending, like, if you can find a place to live, and you know, finding a place to live is a lot harder spending on things. That's why I say if you're living in a based on know what you're willing to do it. It's like, look, if I could right now, I actually will tell you one of the many things that I will tell you right now is that if I chose right now to sell, I've been thinking about getting rid of my Magic the Gathering cards, and I've been thinking about just getting rid of them because it's like, and getting rid of the board game, because like I don't play it. I don't really have any. Oh. Oh, okay. Now I see. Duh. It's a one-lane bridge. I thought it was like a two-lane bridge, and I was like, why are you stopping? So it's really a challenge for a lot of things to make in your own decisions in life. What you do is you try to make it to where you have your ends meet. You know, look, for me, like, I was glad that I was able to build my computer when I did. Because today it's like RAM is like overly saturated. It's like if I really go out and build another computer, personally, I would build it with AM4 instead of, or I would build it in AM5 computer, but I would build it when AM5 was kind of the 7000 series instead of the 9000 or whatever. But trying to build a computer and building one to meet the I was just slowing down, you. Okay, so we're not going to take that. Hopefully not going out that way. But because we're now $25,000 in debt, of course. Um, hopefully, we'll be able to make it back. I know we will. Um, I shouldn't have really gone after and spent a lot of money to upgrade my um and things, but it's whatever we do. But there's a lot of things that can change within a day-to-day life and a day-to-day things that you can't always control the market. You can't always control the things that you want. Like like one of the things that you know when you change or try to build a new computer, um, a new computer for $2,000, $3,000, um, okay. Now we are at 6,000 on that portion. And I can't repair my vehicle right now, so what I will do too is gonna rotate around. Let's go get some rest. I gotta remember I'm on the left side of the road because we're in East England and Scotland. I've gotten used to knowing knowing how to drive in Europe easily. It's not that hard to really focus and drive in one area than trying to drive in another. We are gonna rest. We should not have to be traveling anywhere. Jack R has leveled up. That's actually a good thing on that. We are at 3,000 on that. I think I know we're gonna end up having to pay again, but loan investment of 6,000. The 3,000 is not really helping my loans. But luckily, Jack did level up, so let me go check driver manager. Right now it's gone. Eco driving. Skill training. I want to leave it well balanced on it. But guys, I am going to tell you, as of right now, I need to be more precise. I need to start posting my stuff. I need to figure out a way to start posting out on Blue Sky more often. So that people can start coming to find my content. What I'll probably do is, and Discord and stuff like that, I need to be more proactive about those two platforms, primarily. I need to figure out if there is if somebody is willing to come up with a program, even for it. Today is the 3rd, so 2/3/2026. And need to put live 2/3/2026. Maybe tomorrow, guys. I know today was supposed to be 13. But the last thing I do wanted to really, that we didn't get to that topic, was the Bruce Springsteen's new song. I absolutely, the only song that every time I've listened to it, every time, doesn't matter, I always seem to really tear up. Um, and it's one of those songs that really resonates with me a lot. I love that song. It's absolutely one of the best songs from him, called Streets of Minneapolis. Um, and it's gotten to number one charts in a lot of countries. It was, according to YouTube anyway. Um, if you're wondering, for it, I always, for the United States, it's number two. It's trending number two right now in the United States. But if I'm not mistaken, it's number three in Switzerland. There was a, but Canada, right now, Canada is sitting at number one for Streets of Minneapolis. And it's like, there are at least 19 countries that have this song within the top. Like Denmark has it number one right now. I know there was another one on this, like Germany, is number three. It was number one at one point. Ireland has it number one. So there's like, it's number one in a lot of places. And if we actually go global, global, I'm pretty sure, I'm not seeing it here on the global market, but so yeah, so Streets of Minneapolis was at number one for a little while. For it. And it's really nice just to see that, you know, the top daily music videos, like, it still seems to be always the top number one, is always seems to be the, always seems to be K-pop Demon Hunters. Always seems to be number one on the list. No matter what I look into, it's always up there. It's still number one. And stuff. So it's there, and it's really nice to see a lot of things. Now, of course, it is a thing that the thing that's going on within the Super Bowl coming up. Basically, they're going to have a halftime Super Bowl because they're not going to like Bad Bunny being in the Super Bowl. Like, really? You guys are gonna start complaining about somebody wearing a dress because Bugs Bunny was doing it long before all of this, and now you're all of a sudden starting to complain about it? You're all now starting to complain? Why weren't you complaining then? Why weren't you complaining 40, 50 years ago, go in the 1930s, 1940s, even in the 50s, I think. Let me check. Why didn't, But in 1930, why weren't people complaining then in the 1930s, 1940s? 40s. Why weren't you complaining then? Why weren't you complaining about it? You didn't complain because it was just, it was cartoon. It wasn't realistic. People saw that as it not being a realistic thing. So now all of a sudden you're gonna complain about it because of this? Why complain? It's the biggest. That's one of the biggest things. And to be honest, um, you guys need to go listen to Streets of Minneapolis. It's absolutely one of the best songs I've ever heard in the past 5-10 years. Okay, that have actually came out within the last 5 to 10 years. Okay, there are a lot of good songs out there. There are a lot of great songs out there that I do enjoy. That have come out within the last 5 to 10 years. But that one just happens to be the number one on my list right now. It's my top number one song right now that I have gone and rewatched, re-listened, gone even to check a couple of people on reactions. There was one person that I basically said, "What, really? You're gonna complain about Matt Walsh for it? Matt Walsh is complaining about it? It's like you really are somebody that does not like music, that does not understand that if you liked Bob Dylan back in the day and you still like him like Bob Dylan, then why are you complaining about people doing the same thing again today when they were doing it then? Music is a form of art and a form of protest that does not revolve around a lot of things. And to be honest, there have been a couple of videos out there that have gone in and done a rock rendition of the Streets of Minneapolis. There was another one that has done another one that was AI done, of course, but it's still, I still like the original better. Not many, not a lot of AI songs out there really are great songs. To be honest, there's only been one since I've basically been around and listened. So, but AI is another whole can of worms I'm not going to get into right now. But I'll tell you this, guys. If you guys enjoyed today, make sure you guys hit that follow on Trovo and subscribe here on YouTube. To be honest, I meant to go and actually go to services, go to the bank. We have you pretty much basically are almost going to be paid off. You are going to be the one that's going to be the most harsh to pay off. So we are paying about 608 a day, but anyway, so if you guys want to see content, make sure you guys are followed through here on the TikTok, and make sure that and things like that. But anyway, um, so if you guys wanting to see things from me, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow with Final Fantasy 13 or Euro Truck. depends on how things go and really what needs to be explained. I did not get into the a couple of things that I did not get into, um, mostly because um, um, that did not change a lot of my. There was a couple of things that I wanted to get into. There was one in Indiana where they passed a that contains several provisions. First, it defines what sex and gender in terms of reproductive organs and applies that definition to all laws in the state. Second, it says that trans students can only use the restroom associated with their birth birth sex, basically. Um, or it also allows students to sue schools if a trans classmate breaks this rule. Third, it forces jails and prisons to house trans inmates to their sex signed at birth. Basically, it's really horrible these days for a lot of trans people, especially in red states. But don't count out blue states either. Blue states are there because you got people like Mike Lindell here who wants to do the same thing. He is not somebody that I will vote for, not somebody that I'm going to in any way, shape, or form. Doesn't matter. There's a lot of there's the things that I said. There'll be a hard line stop for me. I will not vote for you if you are not going to support the trans community or the LGBTQ community as a whole. Will be basically where I draw my line. Um, and I will. That's where basically if you're not willing to do that, I don't care. I don't care if you decide to get rid of Second Amendment rights. If you're willing to help the LGBTQ community and help a lot of people with that, I will most likely vote for you on those issues. But anyway, yeah. So guys, make sure you guys hit that follow, hit that subscribe here on TikTok and Trovo, and we'll see you guys later. Bye bye.